Facebook, and I'll just bring Stephen in. Yes, we're both in now. Just get your name up on the screen. Start as we meant to go on. Wow, hello to everybody. We are back. We are delighted to be back. We're celebrating this special day. It's celebration time today, and I'm joined by multiple best-selling author, Taoist master, creator of programs, including the revolutionary Amped body of work. He's also a musician, DJ, and producer. We'll be talking about his MICRODOSES, AMPEDHEAD, and his brand new recording company. You'll also discover how you can get your hands on one of these microdose healing audios for free, and more on that later. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll bring you the mighty Barefoot Doctor, Stephen Russell.
Lovely to be with you all, and you, the beautiful, fabulous Danny Green.
Thanks, man. That's so kind of you to say. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on the release of AMPEDHEAD and your recording label Nuke Tracks. Hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'd love you to talk about how it all came about. I know it's a big question, but in particular, how AMPEDHEAD, Nuke Tracks, how it fits together, the vision behind it.
Yeah. Well, so the Amped volumes, the 3 volumes that are 6 hours long each, and over the course of last year, I released the 3 volumes, and one of them deals with, well, they deal with basically manifesting an internal state and an external state that delights you and works for you and makes your life productive and fulfilling, and really essentially dealing with mental health and existential well-being at the deepest level, all based on strict Taoist principles. But because I've been working with this stuff for 50 years, it's fairly innate now, and the way of translating it into the modern Western idiom is my thing. So they worked basically. They could have charged a lot more for them because so much work goes in, so you can't imagine. But I sold them for $424 per volume, which altogether comes to $1,200 and something dollars, which is a fair amount of money. Or you can pay in split payments, and it's well worth it, I have to say. I don't like talking about it. I always feel a bit because I'm English, so I like talking about stuff. So, but they're really worth it, and they're great. However, I always knew that wasn't going to be the final thing, because that's like for your dedicated audience, the people who trust what I'm doing and understand where it's coming from. And it's not just the money, it's actually the investment of time, because for it to work, you have to listen to an hour of it a day, ideally for 6-7 days, and then do the same thing with the next episode, and so on and so on. So you've gone through the whole thing in 6 weeks, and you will have gone through a proper shift, like a major transformation. Now, however, my keen interest has always been, mostly because I've never really, well, I'm up to about, I reckon, 18 years old now. I think I'm about 18 in my psycho-emotional development. I've kind of caught up with that, basically, maybe 21 sometimes, but I'm not totally sure about that. So I really relate to that time in life and the horrible pressure. Doesn't matter what era it was, the pressure is always really difficult nowadays, because everything's so stratified and computerized. The pressure is a lot more solid somehow, I think, although if you're born into it, it will feel normal to you. But I always really empathize with younger people, and I obviously that if there is a future, they are the future. So my keen interest from my heart, I'm impelled to, is to want to do whatever I can, if they want it, to help. And so with all this stuff, this AMP stuff, which is now morphed into AMPEDHEAD, it's come from somewhere behind me. It's been impelling itself through me. And so rather than me making it up, and I know it would be a great idea, we'll do this, it's coming at me, and I'm going, that's a bit weird. All right, well, let's go for it and see what happens. And that's what, even, the making of the music, all of it's like that. And AMPEDHEAD, it was like, because right at the beginning when it was saying to me, it's called AMP, something AMP, I couldn't hear what it was. And it kind of said, it will be revealed when the time's right. It's like, AMPEDHEAD. Okay, I get it, it's AMPEDHEAD. And so what it guided, and this is what's kind of manifesting, was firstly an app. an AMPEDHEAD app that would go in the arena of calm and headspace and all of those sorts of things. And as soon as it came to me, a really old friend of mine, or one of my oldest friends, who's an absolute genius at anything to do with lateral thinking and getting things done, got in touch with me, said, yeah, man, I've been listening to your AMP stuff, and it's like, it's really good. This is good. Yeah, I've got some ideas for you. So we met, and he said, look, have you thought about an app? And it was like, wow, man. Okay, so we you know, we could have gone at it a lot of different ways, but the exciting way is to do crowdfunding, because that way you also get it promotes the ideas of people as well. So we've spent, I don't know, a few months preparing a crowdfunding pitch for Indiegogo. Right, we've done a really good video, documents. We've gone through it. I mean, we've really worked at it because he's a really good writer as well. We just back and forth. So we got every single aspect in that we felt needed to be in there. The guys, the designers have built a kind of an app kind of interface, you know, so you see what it would look like and a landing page and all of that. That's almost ready to go. We're just waiting for a couple of things to be checked. That's going to launch, I think, in a week or so. Then for me, because as the AMPEDHEAD app is an entity, but AMPEDHEAD, the artist, i.e. me, if you want to call it anyone, you know, that's somehow a different identity, because AMPEDHEAD will supply all the microdoses, all the materials for the app. By the way, the app will be, you go on it, what you're feeling. I've got depression. I feel depressed. I want to overcome depression. And you'll have a menu of about 20 or so different, you know, and it will keep growing, 20 different 3-minute tracks that will deal with depression in all its different guises. And the idea would be, if they're really cool little tracks, I mean, once you've got one on, you don't want to take it off, so you keep it on repeat usually. I mean, that's what I found once I've made one. I've just got it on repeat. I don't even realize I'm doing it. I've fallen asleep with the headphones on sometimes, and it's really good. They work. They're really to the point, because I was thinking, you know, you're young, you don't want too many words, you haven't got a lot of attention span all the time for it, all the inclinations, you've got to grab it straight away, go for it, and power. So the lyrics are pretty cool, and they're very succinct. The music's, I mean, I started by trying to make sure that the sound was young, and I thought, I'll stop all that nonsense. I mean, it's not that. Just do what you do from your heart, and when you do that, it does kind of come out like it needs to anyway. So that it's still a very eclectic range of references in the music, you know, because it goes from the hip hop tempo all the way to the, you know, the drum and bass tempo. It's got all the way through. Mostly it's the 117 BPM, just below 120 house kind of house music. And it's interesting stuff. It's the music itself is interesting. The subliminals are really strong. The frequencies, I've developed the frequencies design quite a bit, so it gives it a punch in quite a short space of time. Anyhow, so that's what the app will be. But then for me, as the artist, and to serve it properly, I thought it's got to have your usual kind of outlets, that if anyone was releasing a track, that it would go out on all the playlists on Spotify, and it would go on Beatport and everywhere else. It has to do that as well. And maybe even if you're lucky enough, get it on the radio, you know, so it goes out like that. So out of the 180 microdoses so far, and they're all in different stages of completion, you know, some have got, a lot of them have got the voice on, but I'm not happy with it. Yeah, and it needs to change and all that sort of stuff. But out of those 180, we pick the first. Oh yeah, I have to go. I'm so excited about it. All that, I can't talk in a straight line. So I decided, it said to me, you need a record label. Okay, stand by for the name. And I'm walking down the street here in Spain, and it suddenly goes Nook, like N-U-K. And I go, what do you mean Nook? It said, well, just play with it for a bit, Nook, and you'll see what it stands for. And I'm going, Nook, neural unlock key. And it's the record label, not just for AMPEDHEAD stuff on its own, but I've done a few collaborations now with other artists. So I like AMPEDHEAD featuring. And it's to release those as well. It's basically a label that will be dealing with anything initially that I'm producing that's going to have all the frequency design and the subliminals and all those tricks. And when I'm working with people, I get them to do the talking on it. So when I'm working with an artist, I'll get them to do the vocals, singing, talking, whatever, which I write with them. And so it's their way of putting the same kind of message across. Different flavors of it, so it will be releasing that as well. Neural unlock key, i.e. your neural pathways in the brain, developing neuroplasticity, creating new mental habits, ways of seeing, ways of being, and therefore changing the way life reacts to you or responds to you. And working with Sam, you know Sam, she's a beautiful Sam, who's absolutely brilliant and lovely. She's really talented businesswoman, and she's got total ethics, and she's decent, and she's honest, and she's proper, and that's a rare combination. And she's lovely to go with it as a person. She's a really, really good, kind person. So it's exciting because so we've now got a distribution deal with Label Works, which are really like the best for us. And it was not easy. You had to go through a lot of hoops to get it. We've got that now. We've got the social media site set up. It was just waiting for the YouTube thing to click in properly. And we've been asking people to go over and like them, because that way, if you got social media activity, that enables the distributor to go to Spotify and say, look, could you flag this up? They've got action going on, you know, it's worth it. And it's the same when it comes to doing the crowdfunding. If they can see people are starting to invest in it, they start flagging it up, and that's how it all works. So we are at that stage at the moment. The first track, we're going to be releasing one track a week, starting, I think, next week. Although I thought it's really scary, but I think it's next week. So we've got a release schedule of the first 4 tracks, and then the 5th track is a collaboration with an artist called Catherine Collins, who is a master classical pianist and sound healer, that I recorded with her in a 12th century church in Cornwall, her playing a Steinway grand. Really remarkable, very, very trippy stuff. So that'll be the 5th, and I think the 6th release will be an album. It's either going to be a Microdose album, or it's going to be the Coyote album, which is one I've done with Patrick Dawes from Groove Armada and Herbalizer. Real shamanistic, beautiful festival trip. You know, it's like amazing. So that might be I don't know, that, or maybe an album of Microdoses. And Dean Barrett is the award-winning finalizing, mixing, mastering guy. He's just about finished the first one for me. Because I thought, for at least for the first few, I want to get the top pro in the business to finalize them, just to give, just, I think I need to, just to give them all the chance they can have. And then we'll start getting busy and see what we do with it. And that's going to happen now. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I have actually not been doing that. I have been making lots and lots and lots of tracks and helping lots of people as well. I have to say, I've been doing, as I will be after I leave this session, I've got to go and help somebody. I've been helping quite a lot of people one-to-one, but not saying because I'm a lovely guy. It's not that. It's just that it's beautiful to be able to be of help to people who really need it in critical situations. Yeah, because that's what makes the whole thing worthwhile. And then, of course, the music this is my whole thing, but without the other backing it up, what is it? It's just empty, isn't it? So I did a great thing in the Isle of Wight a week ago, last Monday night. What an interesting place that is. Wow. And there were all the people that were there were really lovely people, all healers and therapists. And when we were talking at the end, it turned out that the majority of them, it seemed, had been influenced into that work many years ago by me without even knowing. And I was like, wow, what an amazing thing. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been having a nice time a bit like that. Like the old man getting his awards after a lifetime service type stuff, you know.
Oh, bless you. Yeah. You've said so much in amongst that. And, you know, I've often said you don't let the grass grow underneath your feet to see the absolute least. And this is an example of that. We're going to get into it a little bit later on about how those watching can get their hands on one of these Microdose tracks for free, but we'll get into that in a second, a bit later on. For those watching, you know, maybe they want the technical side of things, can you just talk us through what this, you know, these brain training is, it, or the technology you use? Can you talk us through the more technical side of things? Because I know some people love to know about that.
Well, I don't know how complex you want me to go, but let's just start off with the rhythm. You start off with the rhythm. Electronic house music has a basic 4 to the floor, boom, 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 boom. This is originally was aping the Latin / African and Native American trance-inducing rhythm. It was repetitive rhythms because that puts you in a trance to start with. However, we are very sophisticated animals, and we've got used to that boom, boom, boom over the last 20, 30 years or so. And therefore, we're able to discern patterns that are much more complex in the syncopation. So then comes how you mess with the snare drum or the hi-hats and whatever else to create, again, it's still repetitive rhythms, but they're so complex that they're not boring at all. So that's part of it. Then, of course, you've got the whole kind of the sound of the music, whether you want to elicit excitement or calming or yearning for a moment or satisfaction or all kinds of stuff you can do with the actual melodic aspect. So there's that, but we all know about that. Then under the surface of that, you have the subliminal series of subliminal affirmations. For example, it all works out, and then on the other side, everything turns to my advantage. And if you saw it all works out, everything turns to my advantage, and then you crisscross them. So they go, it all works out, and then I've got 10 of them running at the same time. And you might think that's daft, but it's been proven that the mind will absorb up to about 12 of these different crisscrossing, and you can't hear them. You take out a lot of frequencies of one end and a lot of the other, and you put what's left together. I don't know how it works, but that's what's been proven to work, and it works. They go onto the stuff. You maybe hear me whispering a little bit in the background. I always use also a lot of people sounds anyway, a lot of recordings of people talking, and I mess with them and make them weird, and because or nature sounds, because unconsciously you feel connected to the world when you're hearing it, especially as which most of our issues are about dealing with other people. So when you've got that kind of sound of people having a party or doing whatever they're doing, it creates some associations that are healthy. Then running through, and bearing in mind every track is in a different key. The keys, I forgot to say, the key is important. You have E flat and A flat are the two sacred keys of India and Tibet and China. And if you do anything in E flat or A flat, and to an extent C sharp, you will create an altered state immediately. So I do a lot of stuff in E flat, A flat, and C sharp. But then if like F is the most satisfying, reassuring key. For example, people might argue with that, but that's just the way I work. Yeah. Anyway, so keys are important. But then working with the keys, I create a chord, a moving chord with many inflections out of usually 6 different frequencies. And the different frequencies affect different parts of the body and the mind. And what we really want to do is get into quite quickly a gamma brainwave state, because that's the deep meditation state. You could go deeper to theta, but that's like hypnagogic. That's when you're kind of asleep. You're absorbing, but and I do go to theta. Because at times, not for long, because that's what can help you go to sleep if you want to do it when you're sleeping. So the frequency design is aimed to get you to alpha and then quite quickly down to gamma, and so that it's very quickly grounding. You feel okay, I am who I really am. I'm not this pretense of this noise, this story. I am the big me. Suddenly, straight away. That's what I'm using the frequency. They're not in there all the time. I use contrast because it's interesting. You don't notice them a lot of the time. This beautiful chord that I tune to the key somehow or other. And you got far left, you got say 300 hertz, far right 312 hertz, and the weird discord that creates in the middle, the midbrain creates a binaural beat out of the confusion. So that there's that going on as well, and it's the binaural beats that change the brainwaves and. So you'll have the frequencies are in and then they drop out, and when they drop out, it's amazing. Oh, what was that? Like suddenly there's loads of space that you didn't even know wasn't there in the first place. So that's the kind of basic structure of it. And then on top of that, I'm using I lived with the Native Americans for 4 years, and I studied with R.D. Lang, so that the whole art of hypnosis isn't unfamiliar to me. And the working with the shamans or the medicine man, Joe Suasso, and in New Mexico, the way that you talk very playful, and you playful, and then the person's going to go, this is strange, but I like it. It's that kind of weird way of using the voice, the theatricality of it, which is informing the way I do it. Then 40 years now of working with positive thinking, affirmations and how to structure them for myself, for others, and so on. And then doing a lot of live. I mean, I've done that. I did it live right from 1983, 84 in London with the drum off band that I had. And I'd shout out, "You're free to do whatever you choose. Shout it, I'm free to do whatever." And everyone would go insane with excitement. And it's like, gee, this stuff really works, man. So I've had a lot of practicing in Ibiza as well, where everyone's so cool, it's absurd. At the club nights you used to do there, having to find a way of doing it at work with even that. So I'm pretty okay at getting the lyrics sort of okay. I mean, I'm never, I always think, I could do so much better, but it's working, that they work. And I don't gratuitously try and do grime or hip hop. It's never been my thing. It's not my thing. So I think it would be insulting to do that. But I've got my own way of getting lyrics across, and that guides the mind along and it's all in the first person. So it's not, you should do this, you must do that. It's if I want to overcome depression, if I want to overcome feeling trapped in a situation I don't think I can get out of, based on the notion that reality mirrors me, so the way I say it is the way it will be, I say, then I do the affirmation. And it's so the person thinks they're saying it themselves, which they are, really. So it changes your internal dialogue to a different one. And they're catchy and they stick in the mind, and it does work. And people tell me all the time they work. And that's it, really, in a nutshell. And you can do it in under 3 minutes. That's the amazing thing. I've been doing it in 6 hours, and it turns out you can do it in under 3 minutes. Get in there, bang, change the pattern. It's very exciting.
Wow. That's all superbly explained as well. I love to hear you talking about the complexities of it, what goes on behind it. Because obviously the listener just pops on some headphones, presses play on an app, and it's all done for them. They haven't got to worry about what's going on in the background, but it's so nice to know how much love, how much time, expertise, and precision goes into it in the background.
Oh, you're lovely to say, and you're an amazing listener.
Thank you. Can you? I'm guessing you can, but could you listen to more than one microdose in a day?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, yeah, you could listen to as many as you want. You won't overload with them. I think it might be, if you like one and you just put it on repeat, that probably is the most effective to get a quick change to happen. If it's something seriously that you want to deal with. But yeah, you could listen to 12, 20 in a day. It wouldn't matter. They're fun. They are fun. Yeah. I think better that than listening to some silly lyric of a song that doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
So yeah. So presumably, I think you touched on it. There's going to be different microdoses with different topics depending on what it is you're going through. You can just select on an app. Yeah. Anxiety. I've got depression today. I've got frustration and anger. Is that the kind of thing you're looking towards?
Yeah. And not only that, but I want to be more successful. I want more motivation. I want to feel confident when I walk down the street. I want to feel sexy. I want to feel attractive. I want to be socially confident. It's positive as well.
Yeah. What about those watching who may have amped the volumes 1, 2, and 3, or just one of those in isolation? Could they benefit from investing in the microdoses as well?
Well, the thing is with the microdoses, you don't really have to invest in them because they'll be on Spotify. So they'll be like all other tracks. You get them for free, really. That's what it comes down to, isn't it?
Oh, it's wow.
Yeah. So that's the idea of it. There's for everyone to get, so everyone can have them, and in the modern way that it works. And you can buy them. Yeah, you go on Beatport, go on wherever you buy. I don't even know. Where do you buy tracks? Does iTunes still exist? I don't even know. It's shocking, isn't it? I don't even know. I'm so just not in that vibe. Anyway, yeah.
I wonder if you can talk more about how the inspiration lands for you. I know you touched on it before about how Nuke tracks came about, but is it always like a thought voice in your head? Is it just like a nudge, a curiosity to do something? Can it be a combination of things? How does it land for you?
Well, I mean, it can be as crass as I was sitting listening to this incredible Argentinian band playing Astor Piazzolla music a few weeks ago, and it was just glorious, absolutely glorious. And I just thought, I've got to make a track. And I wasn't trying to make tango, but it came out as it was like an interpretation, But that's unusual. What normally it is curiosity for sound. So I go around and record if I'm outside, and because there's no cars here, really, very few. So you get just then you get engine noise. You get a lot of people noise, lovely, and because it's southern Spain, they sing when they talk. It's the most beautiful sound here. So I'm often recording lots of people outside talking and laughing and doing what they're doing. And then I come home and I play it and I start messing with it. And then I'm away, I'm on one, or yeah, that's often what it is. Or it's a synthesizer that I haven't used for a long time. I go, oh, I wonder what would happen if I've not really explored that one properly. Let's have a go. Come on, be brave and look at that one there. And I'll start exploring something that I was genuinely afraid to before. I don't know what that comes from. It's like, oh, make a mistake and destroy everything. But I get a bit bold and I start exploring these. And I've got quite a lot of here. I'll try and angle it. I don't know if you can see. Is it? Look.
Yes.
All this shit everywhere. Right? I buy these. I've got all these quite interesting old synths and stuff, and I like messing with them and just seeing sound. It's the sound that gets me. And as soon as I've got something going, then I stick a beat on it. It's like, and then there's a track happening, and that's how they all pretty much come about, just through exploring sound, really.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask you for a few of these sessions. It's going off topic slightly, but when you were interviewed on the London Reel, it was a little while ago now.
Oh yeah.
You told a story on that which I loved, and I'd love you to share with our viewers. It's along the lines of when inspiration lands, or when you're guided to do something, that voice comes in, and you were describing about when you're outside of a nightclub, I think it was, or outside of somewhere, and you've seen two guys fighting. Can you remember the story I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, the nightclub one was a bit different. That was a group of guys, 3 guys in tuxedos and 3 guys in skateboard clothes, doing kind of a karate battle in the street in Oslo, actually, just outside this club. And I just walked into the middle of it. What are you doing? Stop it! And they were just scattered like birds. That was fun. That was just fun. But this one was quite heavy. It's at a street in East London at night, and the 2 guys in mid-20s, looking like they've just come out of a kung fu class, doing play fighting, like having a little fun thing. And they were really good, these guys. They were good. I mean, I know when someone's good. These guys were good. Both of them, punches were beautiful. I'm thinking, wow, they're good. They're good. As I'm getting closer, I realize it's not a play fight. It's the real thing. And what was happening is the guy on the inside was punching the guy on the outside backwards into the road, into the oncoming traffic. That was his intention. And it was serious. It was, that horrible energy where that violence, he wanted to kill him, basically. That was, you could feel it. So as a human, my thing was, right, cross the road. I mean, wouldn't you? That's the first thing. Just get out of here. Cross the road and, get out of the danger. And the voice that guides me said, no. You got to stop it. And believe me, I'm not nuts. I'm not imagining his voice, because I wouldn't listen to an imaginary voice and go stop a fight. It's too scary, right? You just wouldn't. And it was like, oh no, yeah, you got to stop the fight. Oh, all right, okay. I've been here before. I know this one. So you did in the training, you learn to just let go of anything really. So you're all that pumped up stuff. You let all that go, and you become almost invisible in your humility, in your stance. And I walked up very like I wasn't there, up to them, and they're punching the crap out of each other. Just before I got there, the voice said, watch out for the mobile phone. That's all it said. Watch out for the mobile phone. Within a seconds of that, the guy who was being punched into the cars, into the oncoming traffic, his phone dropped out of his trouser pocket onto the ground. So amazing, right? So I bend down. Do you remember Columbo, piece of fork in Columbo? I bend down that piece of fork in clay. It was instinctual. I wasn't thinking, do big piece of fork. I just remember thinking, this is like piece of fork, does it? I remember thinking that. I picked the phone up, and they hadn't even seen me yet because they were so punching each other. And I said, excuse me, to the guys, excuse me. Yeah, you dropped your phone. Like they weren't having a fight, right? And it kind of threw them, and they stopped for a moment. And in that moment, I rise up to my height with my hands. Are you guys all right? And they just some kind of patois stuff, and they ran off in different directions. That was brilliant. I mean, I'm not saying I was. I'm just thinking, wow, it said, look out for the phone. The phone drops out the pocket. Now, a rationalist, a pragmatist would say, and I could go along with this, your subconscious was aware of the shape of the phone in the pocket, shape in his pocket, that was in danger of falling out. You didn't notice it consciously, but your subconscious did. and it calculated the trajectory and when it would fall. Watch out for the phone. So yeah, I could go with that. It's all right. I'm good with that. I don't mind if it's that. But it really feels like a dialogue. Somebody go there, watch out for the phone. Oh, okay, right, phone. Yeah, and then the rest. Very interesting, eh? I don't recommend doing this to anyone, by the way. I've got martial art training. I wouldn't have, I could have dealt with it if it had turned violent, but I wouldn't recommend this to anyone.
Yeah. No, I think that's a brilliant story. And I remember when you gave that story on the London Reel, to quickly ask you another question as if you hadn't said anything. And I was like, no, I want to hear more about that. So I'm pleased you've told that story, and you've given more details, and I loved it. So how can people get a hold of
free
this the microdose?
That was the track. It's called Free. We were talking about freedom before. That was the track I was trying to think of. Yeah, it's called Free, and it is free. It's about being free. And if you go on the Nook Tracks or AMPEDHEAD Instagram page, for example, or the Facebook or whatever, and you like it or whatever you do on those things, forgive me, I'm an ignoramus, and then you tell Whirly at support@barefoot.world.com, support@barefoot.world.com. Her name's Whirly. Say, Whirly, I just liked whatever. I mean, you could lie to it if you want, but it'd be nice if you didn't. And say, yeah, I've just done that, and then she'll send you the access to the free track. It's a bit clunky, but it's the best we could do for now.
Yeah, I must admit, I'd follow the instructions, and it takes like seconds. Honestly, you click on a few links, like the page, and that's it. Then send shoot a quick email to Whirly at support, as you say. You'll get your hands on a free track, which is extremely valuable. So, what will this track do for you, Doc?
It's all about. I wish I could find the lyrics. They're really good, but I can't find them. I could look for them. They are. It's about when you think that you're not free, when you're living your life to try and please other people in a way that isn't working for you, because you think that you've got to do that to fit in. You're actually confused, because it isn't like that. We are actually all free to do whatever we choose, and actually we have an innate level of decency that will make sure that we don't make choices that are dangerous to other people or ourselves, and that the choices we make will be good for us and for everybody. That's an affirmation, really. So that's the idea of it. It's all down to how you see it. Freedom is up to you. It's how free you let yourself be. I mean, and again, it doesn't preclude being kind and careful and respectful of other people's feelings and take care of everybody around you, but not sacrificially. Basically, it's to stop being sacrificial about things. And I think if you're stuck in a situation, which I've been in my life, I've been in relationships and things where it looked like I never was going to get out of it, and I really needed to. I didn't know how I was going to do it and whatever. It was knowing suddenly somebody reminded me, man, you're free to make your own choices in this life. It was like, oh, I am, aren't I? And that started to cut through that hypnosis that I'm stuck here forever. And I have done a lot of work with prisoners in prisons, and this is poignant for that. That always really, it could be me, it could be anybody, and what a horrible reality that is. And this is not to condone crime. It's not that. It's just to find yourself in that situation. What a horrible thing. So, working with people to start on this idea that I am free in my soul, in my spirit, I'm free, seems to it often would instigate a process that saw them get paroled eventually somehow. It was like that it can even cut through that level of control. And mainly actually with that, it was more about being free from the guilt of having done something, awful. Yeah.
No, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Got Catherine. There's been a few comments I've been putting on the screen as we've been going through, but Catherine is saying exciting times for AMPEDHEAD indeed. Well done, Stephen. She's honoured to be a part of it.
Honoured to have you part of it, young Catherine.
Yeah. And Isabel, my biz partner, saying that's a beautiful gift to us all these days.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I just want to share a little bit about, we've sort of been in contact, working together, friends for about 18 months now. During that time, I've been blessed to have the Amped body of work, volume 1, 2, and 3. And when I keep looking back, down the metaphorical mountain, how far I've come, how much more inner peace I've got, headspace, creativity, joy, as I call it, dancing with your own spirit. It's just so amazing. And it's not until you actually look down the mountain to how far you've come, it makes you realize, like, wow, this is in no small part to the amped audios, you know. And
Thank you. Would you forgive me? Would you forgive me? I've got to give my son a kiss goodbye.
Of course, not. Yeah, of course.
Love you, man. Yeah, good flight.
You too. I mean, not you too.
Thank you. Love you. Yeah, sorry for that.
No, that's fine. You've got to say goodbye to some. My goodness. Oh, bless him. I'm pleased you've got to spend some time together.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
I know one of the things, for want of a better word, you said about the amped body of work is it'll help you to realize and to have your dreams in this lifetime. It will allow you to do your mission, you know, what you came here to do.
Do you know what the key to it all is? The key to the whole thing, in all my teachings, it's that you have a front and you have a back in your body. We tend to live our lives in the front of ourselves. This is the bit where all the activity goes on, the sense organs, the thoughts, the stories about it all, the feelings that are coming up. How do I look? You know, you don't think about how you look from behind you. You think, how do I look from the front? Your whole interaction with people, it's all in the front, and it draws us into the front. And that's where we tend to remain. And when you're in the front, you have this forward momentum sensation. And what that does is, and the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And then I'll be happy when I get that thing. And then you never are, because you're constantly going for the next thing. So the Taoists say, no. The way to do this is the opposite, a backward flowing motion. Come into your back. In the back, there's no activity. There is strength. You've got the spine, you've got the muscles of the spine. You have the back brain, which is your hunter-gatherer, proper intelligence brain, the subconscious, basically. And that's where your power is. And when you're fighting, that's where it all comes from, the martial arts. You've got to be in your back, because you deliver a blow, bang, from the back. It's got your body weight behind it. You do it from the front, it's just, you've got to have a strong arm. And that, you know, you might well have that, but you know, to come from the back, man, you've got power, you've got body weight, therefore you've got momentum. Plus, you get hit when you're in the back. It's just, it doesn't matter. It's, oh yeah, well, you know, something just like it takes the flinch out of the whole thing. So you operate better. Then if you take from that a metaphor for everyday life, if you see life as a dance or a fight or whatever, you stay in your back the whole time. You're able to somehow be in a state of power. And when things come at you, they just seem to affect the front, but it's not you that's being affected. You're not feeling this. There is feeling going on. It's like you're not it. You know, you could even be like just then. The reason made me think of it as I felt, oh, he's going. I love him, my boy. You know, that feeling of and then immediately was able to, you know, that's not what's required here. What's required is communication. So I was almost drawn into the whole drama of, oh, my boy, you know, that thing, and I just dropped back straight away, and then I'm back in command again. I haven't got into denial. I have this beautiful, tender love and feeling for him, and the appreciation of him being here, and wishing him well on his onward journey. But the ground maintains itself. You know, the what's required being here maintains. And then, in other words, I manifest clarity. So if I can do that, I can also then manifest more money, or I can manifest people being happier and kinder around me, or whatever it is I need in that moment. That's how the amp things work. The frequencies get you into your back. That's what they're all about. And the rest of it is all about having a positive intention from the big self, basically, which then the small self will act out for you. It's loads of fun.
Yeah. Do you still have days, Doc, where you try and meditate and you just can't seem to get into the zone, if you like? You know, the monkey mind is still playing up. Or can you just get into your back straight away that that's all gone?
Well, I am in my back most of the time. It's the exception when I get drawn forwards and get stuck there. There are times when things are intense, really intense, and that's how I know this stuff works. That's when I have to go, okay, in the back. You know, like when it's one of those. Everyone gets those moments. But yeah, no, I don't have a problem with it now, because being in the back is being in the state of meditation. So, and the whole Taoist training is about being in the meditative state all the time. Tai Chi is moving in a meditative state. So, because I do that and lots of other stuff like it every day, every morning, the day is like that. It has its flow. It's a meditation for me. You are the Buddha, you know, in the disguise of Danny Green, who I'm talking to in my meditation. This voice coming out is a voice coming out. I don't really own it. You know, it's something that occurs through this collection of cells that is formed momentarily into this body that we call me. So I'm not taken by the story in any given moment.
Right. Oh, well, thanks. I've been wanting to ask you that for a while. We've got Catherine saying, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. It's a quote from Nicholas Tesla. Yeah. So interesting. Like I say, we'll put a link in the comment section about how you can get your hands on this free microdose track, which I thoroughly recommend. And we'll do that after the broadcast. I've sort of got through my questions, Doc. Unless there's anything else you want to add, we could maybe go into a group visualization if you.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think because what I wanted to add really is to the group, it's to everybody. I get a feeling as I talk to you as my sisters and brothers that this is a time where we must be strong. We have to be strong. And I mean that in more like the feminine sense of strength, the true strength that comes from softness, not rigid strong. There's a lot of that rigid strong, people reacting to each other angrily and so on and so forth. We are in really intense times, and so we must be strong. We must be strong, and that's what I'd really like to make as the basis of this. Danny asked if I could do one that would be about freedom, and it is going to be about freedom. But freedom, I think, can come only from strength. It has to come from, and strength really only comes from softness, not from rigidity. It looks like the sort of Trumpian style, Boris Johnson style of, oh, you know, maybe that's what looks like strength, and it momentarily is, but it's not. That's not real strength. Real strength is the feminine, the soft. You wait, you gather, you form your intention, and then with love, doesn't mean with being in denial of the dark side of life, but with love, you then move to allow life to coalesce into a different picture. And it's important that we do now, because you can feel it. The yin and the yang, the light and the dark, are really going at each other. And that's on one level. On another level, they're cooperating with each other. And it's what we must, as warriors of the light, must now identify with, embody rather, that aspect of the dance, where it is a beautiful dance rather than a horrible battle. So if we can bring ourselves to that level of reality where we are embodying the beautiful flow of the yin and the yang as it does this incredible dance to resolve situations for us, it will be to our advantage and to the advantage of everyone in the world, because we will somehow be subtly but definitely shifting the frequencies of the collective mind, and which is, as you can see, the collective mind has become very susceptible to crass stimulation. Hey, so-and-so's doing that. Well, everybody goes that way. And, you know, sensationalism. Yes, it's really big and it's doing, you know, Britain about to be slammed by a tropical storm, blah. There's never that kind of subtlety to anything anymore. People are responding like Pavlovian dogs to this kind of stimulation. It's very important that we retract our sense organs a bit like from it and are able to go back to the beautiful, soft space, which is growing. It's growing. The people I meet, the people I encounter are increasingly beautiful, kind, and warm, and caring, and aware, and not combative or hostile or aggressive. I'm seeing something amazing is happening, and I feel we have to consciously align ourselves with it more and more. The beautiful, soft, feminine aspect of the goddess, the Tao, the great mother, the nurturing mother, that takes care of us all, everybody without exception, and settles everybody. All the children get settled, and then somehow from there we can make choices that will collectively see us through this present almost insurmountable challenge, but we can surmount it, and that's my my intention anyway. I hope that made some sense anyway.
Yes.
Good. So if you would like to let yourself relax, as in become aware of all the activity in the front of your body, become aware of how you're holding your breath without even realizing it. Take a breath in for a moment and then breathe out with a sigh. Go like this, go, oh. And as you do that, just let everything drop away. Do it again. Take a breath in. And with an audible sound, just go, oh. That's good. And as you do that, you notice the body's wanting to sink somehow. It wants to drop all its upward pull and just surrender a bit to gravity, which is natural for any weight to want to do that. So allow it to do that. Allow the relatively considerable weight of the skull and the shoulder area to drop down and be supported in the pelvic floor. So you let your weight drop down all the way to your pelvic floor. And as you do that, it's a feeling of, oh, I'm home. I'm on the planet. I'm home. Then, just to counteract any slumping, imagine someone raising the crown of your head by virtue of a silver thread attached to your crown, pulling it upwards and upwards and upwards. So the back of your head gets lifted. Your chin drops a bit, and then you have more length at the back of you. Your spine feels longer. You feel upright. You've what they call raised the spirit of vitality. You could picture a white light spinning just above the crown of your head, and that keeps you kind of dignified, literally upright. But at the same time, maybe just as importantly or more importantly, the weight is sinking. So you get this sense of I am merging with the planet. I'm on a planet. I'm not trying to get off it anymore. I'm on it. And I'm committing myself to being on it right now. And then rather than thinking of the planet as some sort of bit of boring old rock, realize that the surface of the planet is relatively very thin crust, underneath which is a fire burning as hot as the surface of the sun. That's what's beneath our feet. And this planet with this fire inside of it is spinning on its axis as we speak at 1,600 kilometers an hour, 1,000 miles an hour, while simultaneously zooming around the sun at no less than 66,000 miles an hour. That's happening right now, 19 miles a second, 30 kilometers a second. We are moving at that speed through space. So what we're sitting on is something really exciting. It's not boring. It's really exciting, and we're on it. So that's the first stage. Then get a feeling of the difference between the front part of you and the back part of you. If you think everywhere forwards of your ear holes and everywhere forwards of the side seams of your t-shirt or whatever you're wearing is the front part of you. And in that part of you, you have the forebrain, which is dedicated to telling itself stories to explain life to you. These stories, bear in mind, were developed from the time you were a year old, if younger, you know, when really your experience of the world, the material world, was zero. And these stories are predicated on a collective story, and collective stories develop over time. The fundaments of the collective story are quite often totally nonsensical myths that become believed as being reality. And yet these are the components of these stories that you're telling yourself, that we're telling ourselves in the forebrain all the time. And yet we do it so well, so convincingly, that we really believe the story we're telling ourselves is the truth, that it is reality. And it isn't. It's just a description of reality. It might coincide with it, maybe, but it rarely does, not really with what's really going on. Because we are masters at self-deception, remember. But we're great storytellers. So we're telling ourselves these. For example, you get a bank statement and says you've got no money, and you immediately will go into a story that takes you all the way, well, you know, could take you all the way down to seeing yourself begging for money. You think of abject poverty, or, you know, the mind will do that. And then you'll get totally terrified of that story when it isn't actually happening. And what will happen is you'll find a way to get money and pay the bill, and it will be all right, like it usually is, for example. And that reaction to the story we tell ourselves, oh, I'm heartbroken, or I love them, or whatever it is, the stuff that you're talking about, the reaction to that is in the belly. And it's a painful feeling of that, it could be like chagrin, it could be regret, it could be guilt, it could be fear, it could be sadness, anger, frustration, all kinds of mixed up stuff and going on in there. And then the mind wants to know what that is about. So it then makes a story about that. And then that story gets reacted to, and you're in a loop. And that is essentially how most people are actually living most of the time. And if you ask somebody how they are, oh, what a day I've been having. That's their story. They're in the story. They've identified with and embodied the story. Reason for this is your sense organs all face the front. So you're enamored of everything that goes on in front of you. You're in your front. And it's kind of like, well, if I get this done or that done, then everything will be all right. And if I get this sorted and that, so then everything will be, if I realize my dream, everything will be all right. And then it'll be all right. And it won't. It'll just be the same old noise, really. However, rear of the ear holes and rear of the side seams in your back, there is no story going on. All there is being. There is this beautiful, immortal, eternal, infinite, limitless self. That's the self of the universe. It's the self. It's existence itself. It's the goddess. It's the Tao. It's whatever you want to call it. Silly calling it names anyway. But this is it. In the West, before we had religion, we might have called it God. It is the presence, the big presence of everything that informs every subatomic particle with the potential for consciousness, for movement, and so on. And this force, this presence, is immediately discernible as soon as you drop into your back. There's a sense of infinite space. You get the sense that your back and the back of your head is not the barrier between you and the continuum of existence. It's just your back. So you can actually let go of that even and expand into the space behind you. You get a feeling of expanding behind yourself, filling up the space behind you. All at once, you are huge. There's this feeling of being this huge presence. The front part of you now is seen as an arena of sensation. That story that would normally be going on in the forebrain, the narrative about what shoes you should wear for this wedding, or you must hurry up and get everything done today, or whatever it is that you've got rolling in the front of your brain, was all stopped miraculously, more or less. It's just a residue of noise in there. And you are sitting in a state of pure consciousness. In this state of pure consciousness, at one embodying the presence of existence itself that is available to you in the back of you, you have the power to ordain the way you want life to respond to you now. In other words, you have agency by clarifying and focusing your intention for how you want it to be. And it's not a specific thing, it's a broad-based intention. For example, my intention, I'm talking on your behalf here, forgive me, is for the rest of this day to be feeling supremely delighted to be alive. So much so that it doesn't matter what comes my way, however irksome it might be in the moment, it doesn't even dent my feeling of delight for being alive. My intention is for today to be one of supreme harmony between me and everyone that I'm interacting with, whether it's digitally, online, or in person. Everyone I encounter, there's a feeling of joyfulness, mutual joyfulness, just for being alive, that they feel from my presence. And I'm inspiring to people today, and people are inspiring to me. It could be, for example, that today things that have been difficult for me, suddenly I find the way through. Suddenly I see the way to go. Or today's a day where I receive beautiful surprises. People are lovely to me today when I wasn't expecting it. Or great results achieve themselves today. I'm not even great results achieve themselves today. That kind of intention, that's your intention. I mean, putting words to it is a little bit banal, but because it's not really something you can put words around, but we do our best. So you formulate your intention, and then you become aware from the back of you that in the front of you, in your chest, you have your beautiful heart. And I'm talking about the metaphorical heart. The middle of the chest is like the area where the pure beauty of your soul is available. And the way you unleash it is you picture the top of the chest where the thymus is, raising upwards and forwards a little bit to give you a kind of barrel chestedness, like a queen or a king, without arching the back. You let your kidneys be really relaxed. And as you do that, it's like lifting the hood of the secret place in the middle of the chest. And it obliges the two halves of your breastplate to open out a little bit and reveal this precious jewel, this beautiful cluster of magnificent fragrances, this rose gold light, the floral gorgeousness of the rubies, the garnets, the amethyst, the rose quartz, everything that reminds you of the beauty of love and the beauty of beauty. Your courage, your beautiful spirit, the gorgeousness of you that made the adults when you were born go, oh, she's beautiful, he's gorgeous. That what inspired the love in your parents and those around. That's still who you are. That's your gift. That's your gift to the world. That beauty in your soul, unfettered by selfish concerns, unfettered by complexes, by trauma, by all the stuff that happens to everybody as they grow through life. The pure, beautiful you in the chest here. And just being aware of it now, it causes it to radiate freely all about your field, and from there to everywhere and everyone. So you're generously now offering, contributing the gift of your soul to everybody there is, to all sentient beings throughout time and space, not even just now on this planet, not just even the people, it's just to everyone. You're allowing the love to go to everybody with a wish for it to be healing and soothing for everyone. By doing that, you're receiving the love of everyone on the planet. And in each is sending love in their own forms, even the weirdest, most distorted forms of it. Essentially, in essence, it's still love. And the love bit of it's coming to you now. So you're being fed as much as you are feeding. You, from the back of you, this huge being, are playing your part fully in the continuum of existence. And the intention that you have for your life to be as you wish it to be, let that be a kind of an entity, almost like a shape that is sitting in the ether behind your breastbone, sitting there in your heart, being incubated by this exchange of love that's going on. It's kind of stimulating it, incubating it, making it stronger and stronger, so that existence can't resist it. Your intention becomes irresistible to existence, and existence can only comply with it, and gladly so too. In that way that Rumi says, that which you seek seeks you also. So this desire from your heart, with the great love informing it for the universe to conspire to provide a beautiful experience for you today, and thereby by extension to everyone in your world, it becomes irresistible. It seeks the same thing as you seek. And there's this amazing symbiotic synergy that suddenly occurs. It's as if you've done a magic spell and everything's suddenly transformed in the world. And any sense that you were stuck in any situation is seen immediately as illusory. You are free. You're totally free. Destiny has you covered. It knows exactly what you need, and it will guide events to produce exactly the result you need to be fulfilled, satisfied, and feeling the glorious, magnificent self that you are. And even though the front brain self will be going, oh, shut up with all that hyperbolic nonsense, that's ridiculous. It doesn't matter, because the back self knows that whatever you ordain will be so. Whatever you say is possible, and it will be so. So with that sense of the big self in the back, put your back into it and bring yourself into the waking state without losing any of that. So you've got your spine in it, and you're coming back, your eyes are opening, your body's coming back into motile mode, and you're ready for the magic that will ensue for the rest of the day. How about that?
Beautiful, Barefoot Doctor. Thank you so much, Stephen Russell.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was gorgeous as always. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you did.
For everyone watching, we've got your website is barefootdoctorworld.com. I always say, check it out, spend some time on there. There's so much information, so much good stuff. Get on Barefoot's email list, and he'll keep up to speed with all that's going on, and you get some really cool emails and updates every week, which are always of great value and insight and wisdom. So many thanks to everyone for watching. We've got loads of comments coming in. Thank you for them all. I'll circle back after this live stream and respond to everyone. Don't forget, I'll pop a link in so you can get your free track. All you got to do is like a couple of Facebook pages and an Instagram link. Pop an email to Whirly, which is Barefoot Support, and you'll get a free audio, one of these microdoses. How cool is that? So thanks very much, Stephen Russell.
Thank you.
Until the next one.
Until the next time. Love you, man.
Love you too. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.